there, welcome to Glitch Please, the show where we talk all about video games for one more episode at least. This one. So welcome, I'm your host, Brian.
I'm Ben.
I'm Adam.
Hi.
I am called Nick.
Wow.
That's
Good
a good way
job.
to introduce yourself. Yeah. So there is a lot to talk about. We're going to get into Kingdom Hearts 3. We're going to get into Resident Evil 2. But before we do that, boys, what's everybody playing that's not Kingdom Hearts 3 or Resident Evil 2?
Oh,
Resident Evil 2.
I can contribute to that.
All right, yeah.
Nick, you say
we
Smash.
put this in for Nick because he's only playing
Brian,
one game.
it's a whole new day. It's a whole new reason to play Smash Brothers because there's
Oh, yeah.
patch 2.0, baby. Piranha Plant is in the game.
I was reading.
What does he do?
Yeah, what's his? Is he broken?
What's his
Is
what's
he
his
good?
beat? What's his smash moves?
His Smash moves, okay, he's a really weird character. So he can fly. He can run surprisingly fast for a potted plant. And he has this one move that, it's his down B. You can hold it down, and you can angle it, and then he just launches his head like across the entire stage and back again. It's a really fast
He
attack.
launches like his.
Yeah, he just stretches out.
wow.
He does
Does he shoot a fireball?
Not really. Like there's
That's like the one thing he goes up and down and shoots a fireball.
There's one attack that uses fire. It's his back air attack. He like coughs up a little bit of fire. It's short range, but
He's got to be
it's there.
vulnerable.
So is he like
to fire.
fast? Is he?
Yeah.
I can't imagine
he
he's
seems
tanky.
he's pretty fast. I only messed around with him a little bit in training mode last night because it was late and I wanted to get to sleep. And this character is so strange, but a lot of fun. You know how characters have like spike attacks that like you just send you straight down really
Yes.
fast. His comes out so quick.
Okay.
Like I think it's the fastest spike move in the whole game.
What have you had your save file corrupted? Because people say
I
there've been
did not.
reports that if you play him in All-Star mode, it'll. Somebody said they lost 120 hours. Or
Brutal, dude.
So if that guy has Nintendo Switch Online, then he can fall back on his cloud save so that when Nintendo screws something up like this,
Yes.
you have a backup. But you have to give Nintendo more money for them to love you that much.
I imagine someone playing this game for 120 hours probably has Nintendo Switch Online.
Probably.
Probably.
You would imagine.
What? So there's also a ton of updates, right? What are
Yeah.
the big? And I know, but when we're recording this, it's pretty early. But what I heard, Luigi got nerfed. What are the heavy?
Yeah, there's a huge list of patch notes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
That-
which,
Finally.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
That Nintendo finally did it. But like they went in pretty much all the detail you could ask for, outside of like the very specific like how many frames they shaved off of whatever. Most of the changes were just like little fixes or making moves a little bit safer if you throw it out and go. Okay, so there's a term called landing lag. I don't know how technical this is going to be for you guys, but like if you do a move in the air and then you land on the ground, you have to wait a certain amount of time, like X amount of frames before you can do something again. So basically you're vulnerable if you land while you're doing an aerial attack. They did a lot. They shaved off a lot of that time, or some of that time, for a lot of attacks. That was kind of one of the running themes. They nerfed K. Rool.
Oh, he was so much fun.
Yeah, I don't think he needed to be nerfed, but yet
What did
he
they
was.
nerf about him?
They nerfed nothing to do with his armor.
Which is what I heard was like the broken part of
That's
him.
the part that most people complain about. They seem to have made his recovery a little bit less good. Something about I think it was they made it not go as far. It's because like one of the things about K. Rool is he was a really heavy character who hits hard. And it's like impossible to kill him unless you just knock him out outright. Because
fun.
you knock him off the stage. He's got this little propeller thing that just takes him back from like basically wherever. If I'm understanding the patch notes correctly, they made it so that his up B doesn't go as far.
That's a shame.
Which, it is what it is.
It's always fun to play overpowered characters.
Yeah, but
I'm playing single player, so it doesn't really matter to me. I just want to play overpowered characters.
I just like that Kingdom Hearts
Makes
3
sense.
and Resident Evil 2 came out this week, and Sakurai was like, what do we do? What do we do? Release the plant. Come out now.
I am exactly that distracted boyfriend meme where like maybe I was considering looking at Resident Evil 2 or KH3, but this Piranha Plant comes out though. That's got my attention.
What? This is a little bit earlier than expected, right? For some reason,
little
I thought
bit.
It was going to come out like February 1st. Or something
Well,
like that.
yeah, that's what a lot of people were expecting, is that the plant was going to come out like mid-February or so.
Has the Smash meta settled down any? Are there like top tier fighters now?
Yeah, well, it's early on enough that as soon as as people are like, oh, this character looks really good, like Inkling and Young Link even were at the very beginning, like the clear top contenders. But as things have settled a little bit, they're still good, but they're like down here. But now like Peach is up here, Peach and Daisy of all characters.
Okay.
So it's always changing just based on what people discover.
And then and then if one person gets popular, one character, then I'm sure everyone else sort of figures out counters, and then
Yeah, exactly. And then to get a patch like this, that just disrupts everything.
Yep.
So it wasn't like the most extensive balance patch you can imagine, but it's enough that it's definitely going to upset some of that.
All right. Ben, what are you playing?
Yeah, so I'm still trying to do my whole 52 games, play 52 new games in 52 weeks thing.
Okay.
And with Kingdom Hearts 3 and Resident Evil 2 coming out this week, I needed something a little like small and bite-sized to get through. So I looked through Xbox Game Pass and found a game called The Gardens Between.
Yeah.
It came out, I think, at the end of last year. It came out a while ago, but it's just kind of nice bite-sized puzzler. It stars like two characters, a boy and a girl, that are kind of like going through this island setup, and each island has these different puzzles that involve time. So as you move forward in the island, like the island moves, things fall, you'll find small little interactive objects that you can like activate, and then you can like change parts of time on the island that maneuver like things that have shifted the island, and you have to kind of go through that to figure out how to get to the end.
So is it like a platformer? Is it top down? What's the...
It's a three-dimensional game where it just starts on, it's not a platformer, it's like Braid, right? Where you move to the left and the right, but without any of the platforming elements.
Okay.
So as you move to the right, time moves forward. As you move left, time moves backwards, and you can interact with objects that aren't a part of that time continuum, I guess is the best way to put it. You have this lantern that you have to light up and get to the end of the island and then place it on this beacon that pushes you forward to the next island.
How did you play all the way through it?
Yeah, it's a really short game. It's only 2 hours long. 2.5 hours.
I like short games now. I'm very pro games like under 10 hours.
It's a nice, like I just sat down on a Thursday and played through it all the way. It's a really nice game for someone that like maybe doesn't game a lot as well. My girlfriend actually played through all of it before I even got a chance to sit down and play it, and was the one that recommended it to me. Yeah, it's just a nice, chill, relaxing experience. Spent the afternoon just kind of sitting there, and it hooked me enough to want to keep playing through all the way to the end until it was over. And even when it was over, wanted some more puzzles to jump through. So and there's some cool things with like some interactions that you can do on each of the islands to keep it fresh. It's just a fun bite-sized game.
How much does it go for normally?
It's $20 right now, I believe, on Steam, Switch, Mac, like basically every platform out there.
Do you feel like it's a $20 game?
That I don't know. Okay. It's like I said, it's pretty short.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'd want to drop $20 on it. But if you drop $10 on Game Pass and like you can finish it in that span of time, it's kind of more worth it to go.
It sounds like that's kind of the way to do it.
Yeah.
You mentioned you wanted more puzzles. Is it the kind of game that you would go back and play through what is there again? Or do you just see yourself being like, I'm good for a one and done?
There's not a lot of replayability. There's a small story that like in between when you finish an island, like this constellation appears that tells you a little bit about their life because it opens up on them in a treehouse where time just freezes, and then all of a sudden you're on these different islands that you're having to figure out these different puzzles on. So it's fun, but once you finish the puzzles, there's not a lot to go back and do again.
There's not like collectibles or whatever.
Not really. You can go back and get the achievements in the game, and there's some like hidden things, but it's not like I need to go back and figure out how to get to this collectible.
That's how I felt about Braid, coincidentally. Like I loved it. I wanted to beat it and figure everything out, and then once I was done, I never want to play Braid again.
It's Braid in that it has a time mechanic with it, and you are on these levels you're moving back and forth between, but it doesn't have any of the platforming Braid. So it's really nice for someone that doesn't have like the motor skills, you know, that wants to figure out like, okay, I need to jump on this guy, then freeze time, then go back and figure out how this works with the time puzzle here. Yeah.
Execution puzzles are tough. Those are like, I love puzzle games to death, but when it comes to execution puzzles, those are the ones I always struggle with, and sometimes those are where I put the game down.
Yeah, I like really hard as nails platformers, so I love those kind of games, but it's really hard if I want to try to sit down with someone and play the game that cannot do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun just kind of sit down with a friend and work through.
Adam, you got anything besides?
I played a little bit of Crosscode to like relax from Resident Evil. I feel the game is a little polarizing for me because I think I talked about this last week, but I really enjoy the dungeon stuff in that game because it's full of puzzles. There's not a whole lot of combat, but there is combat. But the focus is like, it's like 2 to 4 hours of just puzzles per dungeon, and I love puzzles. But then the overworld is very, it's just kind of like from point A to point B, and there are like in-world puzzles in the overworld where you need to figure out how to get to a place, but then you figure it out and you open the chest and it's like, here's 5 nuts. And it's not, the overworld's not really a rewarding place to be, except for completing quests. So I don't know. The game makes me really want an MMO. And I do love the style of this game. I just don't know that I love the overworld.
Are you following the story at all as you play through, or is it kind of just like a...
The story's fine.
matter?
It's like for the first, I'm like 10 to 12 hours into it. Really right now, it's just like you're developing a party and you're like trying to figure out, you still don't know, like you have like little flashes of memories, but you haven't really learned anything at the point I'm at yet. So I still think it's a really fun game. I just think that it strikes a weird balance for me where I don't want to be in the overworld and I only want to be in the dungeons.
Oh, that's interesting. It looks great. I love that style.
I'm really excited about it.
Most of the stuff you're seeing here is dungeon.
Is this, it's coming to the Switch, right? But
Yes.
It's like, okay. I'll probably pick it
I think it's coming out to Switch middle of the summer, is what I remember from that Indie Direct they stealth dropped a week ago.
Yeah, I want to see. I want to see like where it goes and if it changes it up a bit. Because so far, it's been like the same type of like 5 or 6 screens of overworld, and there's just nothing going on there.
Yeah.
So I hope that changes a little bit.
I've gotten back into my Vita for some reason, which is weird, but I'm playing through Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. I think I talked about that last week. Just older school, like early 2000s JRPG. It was originally a PSP game.
How popular is that series? 'Cause I saw a lot of people in the comments really excited that you were playing that game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think it has its fans, and then it has sort of a number of offshoots, and I'd never gotten into it, so I was like, all right, cool, I wanna give it a shot, and it's great, I love it. It's the combat's, it's turn-based, but it's also like positional, so you have to like, get up close. If you're a melee, you gotta get up close to attack somebody ranged, you can step back, but it's if you like JRPGs, you'll like it. And it just reminds me of how great the Vita is and it just never got the support. I mean, it was too expensive.
This Dead May Never Die.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the 3DS, which I also like and has a ton, but like is so graphically inferior to the Vita. But like, it's just like, it's night and day, but it has a ton of stuff,
If we can maybe ever get Persona 5 on the Switch, maybe that'll open something up for more JRPGs to funnel into the Switch.
Yeah,
and have a
that's
good
true.
portable system for that.
Are you still playing that Cosmic Star Heroine game?
Yes.
I considered it after you mentioned it.
Yeah, it's fun. I put it down because I was playing Kingdom Hearts 3 and Resident Evil, but it's sort of something I'm going to come back to. But graphically it's got that kind of Octopath, that 16-bit style. It's very indie in the sense of you can tell this was the vision of like a small team.
Right.
And I love that about it. The interface is like a little clunky, like it's not polished, but it's just the combat's fun. Different kind of power. Yeah, this lady who has guns floating around her and just like they can blow things away is like fun. The cutscenes, the story, I don't know. Yeah.
It looks like a weird spin-off to Chrono Trigger to me.
Yes, that definitely inspired by that.
Okay.
And also, I got a copy of Wargroove for the Switch.
How is it? If you could talk about it, I don't know what the stipulations
I think
are.
by the time this airs, it'll be out because it's coming out February 1st.
Tomorrow, I think, right? Tomorrow or day. Oh man. Okay, I have a game to play this week.
It comes out
Sweet.
Friday. Okay, did you like Advance Wars?
Yes.
Yes.
Then this is for you.
Even is it music based?
No.
Oh, I just got the title made me think Wargroove, like there was music around it.
No, there was
Maybe, but I play with the sound off.
They showed Wargroove in that Nindy selection, then there was some other rhythm-based game.
Metal,
That-
super cool.
That's one that like
That must
really
be
appeals to
what
me.
I confused that with.
and that came right after.
So this is Advance Wars?
This is
Literally Advance
fantasy,
Wars, but fantasy.
Fantasy Advance Wars.
It's published by Chucklefish, I believe. The people that
and
made.
Chucklefish developed it too. I think.
Did they really?
Yeah.
These goddamn games.
It is so much fun.
It looks so good. I'm really
Yeah.
excited for this.
It's got the old school pixel art, but I mean,
Sprite animations are fantastic.
yeah, definitely takes cues from Advanced Wars. I'm only like probably 5 missions in, but you know, I think sort of standard so far fantasy JRPG story.
Yeah.
Does it have any kind of like upgrade system, like classes, kind of like Fire Emblem has, or is it pretty much just generating troops, sending them out into the world to complete objectives?
So I don't know if there's like equipment upgrades. There might be, but so far it's like capture a barracks, use that to generate more troops. There's fog of war. There's attack dogs that you can generate. They call them attack pups. And kind of like it's similar to Fire Emblem, position matters in the sense of if you get like your pikemen will always critical hit if they're right by each other. If your ranger doesn't move before they fire an arrow, they'll get a critical hit. So if you like, you know, it's a no-brainer.
This game was on my radar for a while after I saw kind of what the premise was, and then it fell off because I just completely forgot about it with a bunch of other games coming out. And then when they announced it was coming out in a week and a half, it kind of came back on. I just haven't been keeping track of dates. I'm really excited about this.
I downloaded it and fired it up last night and just immediately like got sucked in.
It sounds like a perfect Switch game too.
Oh.
Everything's a perfect Switch game. I confused this with the other game that was shown in that same, when they debuted this, I suppose.
The rhythm-based.
Yeah.
It's like a
totally don't remember what that
post-apocalyptic
is.
rhythm metal.
Which also sounds like it could be called War Groove, you know?
Post-apocalyptic, but I thought it was like fantasy, but that's fine.
Double Kick Heroes, I think?
No, I don't remember. It was something else. It was side-scrolling.
Oh, okay.
But
So does War Groove let you use like touchscreen too when you're in handheld mode?
Shoot, I don't know. I played it in handheld, but I didn't use the touchscreen.
You're not using the touchscreen. You're not listening to the music, Brian. What good are you?
It was, but yes, it is a ton of fun. So it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah. All right, so that is what we're playing. Let's get to the new releases. First up, let's do Resident Evil 2.
yeah.
Let's talk about it.
That came out first. We talk about it first.
That animation is totally me in the game if I missed all my shots.
Yeah.
Or they just didn't work and the zombies kept coming.
Fucking man, there's so much to talk about this game.
Let's do it.
So I talked about last week how like I hate horror games,
Yeah.
but I was gonna force myself to play this one, and I did. I didn't beat it though. I'm still playing it.
Oh, man.
So I'm forcing myself to beat this game before I play Kingdom Hearts, because I know if I play Kingdom Hearts, I'll just play that forever and forget about Resident Evil.
Yeah.
How far are you guys? And we can talk in general terms. There's 3 portions to the game. There's a precinct, there's something else, and there's something else.
So we're not going to have like huge spoilers for this, right?
Yeah.
Just wanna...
I will probably talk about first chapter spoilers, like the first part of the game, because there's a mechanic in there that I think is pretty polarizing, and I think we should talk about.
I'm still, I don't think this is spoilery, I'm still in the police station.
Yep.
I've got 2 out of the 3 medallions.
Okay.
And I'm looking for the 3rd, so that's where I am.
So you've moved past what the demo allowed you to play a little bit.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
How far are you, Nick?
I could be at the title screen.
Great.
if I get the game.
If I get the game.
And you are.
I am I'm still in the police station. I think I'm about to leave the police station.
Okay, I see. I think I know where you are.
Yeah.
I think we're at roughly the same point. I'm ready to leave. I just haven't. I went through, I was leaving, like walking out, and I was like, I'm gonna make sure I got everything.
Yeah.
And I missed one thing. There was like a weapon I forgot to get. But all of the rooms in the police station are 100% clear, except for the rooms I can't get into with Leon, like the heart rooms.
Which I didn't even realize. Apparently the heart
the
rooms
heart key rooms.
Yeah, heart key
Yeah.
rooms are only something Claire can access.
Right.
The Clover key rooms are something only Leon can access
Right.
in his playthrough.
I think my favorite part so far is when he goes outside and I played as Leon, and he goes and Claire comes. They see her in the security camera, and she goes running up, and it's a zombie outbreak. Like shit is going horribly wrong. He sees her and he's like, "Hey, what's up? How are you doing?" Like very casually, like almost flirtatious. Like
He's used to it.
It made me laugh and laugh.
So are you playing as Leon currently in
Yes.
the first playthrough?
Are you playing as
I'm
Leon?
playing as
We're
Leon.
all Leon.
Yeah, baby.
I was a Resident Evil 4 fan, so that's my excuse.
Yeah, yeah.
Leon, and I wish there, his cool jacket was in this game.
My roommate
with
is
the
playing
fuzzy.
through as Claire for his first playthrough, and we've been talking a little bit about how the game is different. He's a huge.
What changes? Is the story?
Well, she's
Play it
if
out
you
differently, or is it
when you
different
first start the
abilities?
game, like he runs into the police station, she gets trapped outside.
Okay.
So she's generally not in the police station, except you encounter her one time, sort of near the police
So
station.
there are two playthroughs through the game. There's Leon A and Claire B, and then Claire A and Leon B. Leon A and Claire A are both kind of the main storylines for those characters on how they get through their adventure in Raccoon City. And then when you run into the other character through your A playthrough. Right. Then you go to your B playthrough, and that's where you find out what they have been up to while you have been going through the police station. So there are moments where like.
Okay, while they're off screen.
Yeah, there are moments where like you leave the police station as they are coming into the police station. There's some crossover on what their adventures have been, what they've been doing, and some of the information on that they have found out as well.
So there's a couple things I want to complain about with this game.
Go for it.
And I need you to tell me if it was like this in the original. So the one problem I have thus far is enemies are insane bullet sponges.
Yes.
So, like, you can shoot a zombie 3 times in the head, and it'll go down, and then it'll get back up.
But it
And
takes
you
3
You shoot it another 3 times, and then it'll go down, and it'll get back up. And that process repeats itself probably 3 times, depending on the zombie. And it's a game where ammo is intentionally really scarce, so you don't want to fight everyone. But there are times where you just have to. And I was trying to be reserved and not fight everyone, but like in general, you want to fight a lot of the enemies because there's a thing that happens later on that makes it really difficult to get around without getting bitten. And then so with the ammo scarcity, there's also it takes too long to kill people, but then the game self-balances, where if you have a bunch of ammo, enemies will take more hits to kill.
Oh, that's
Really?
why.
Then it's not bad that I've been going through this game with no ammo whatsoever.
I can't verify that. That was something I read, and I don't know if that's actually
I
true.
believe that, though, once you said that.
But
If you triple tap a zombie, like if you shoot it, it falls down. Can you shoot it while it's down?
yes,
Or
but,
is
but it just goes
They will go get right back up.
and like it takes so many shots to kill
Yeah.
a zombie. But occasionally, like if you're really low on ammo, a zombie will take 1 hit to kill.
Yes. Yep.
And that's
Same thing.
And that's sort of like trying to balance it out to make it like less hard. But there are still times when I've been like, I have 3 shots left, and there are 4 zombies. Like,
So I never played Resident Evil 2, the original.
Okay.
But I've been watching a lot of like old gameplay to kind of see the comparisons between 2 and what this remake is. Knowing that, I love this game. It's so well polished, and the changes they have made because
no, but is the ammo stuff and the shooting stuff like? Did zombies take 3 shots to kill, or sorry, 6 to 9 shots to kill?
that I don't know. But for the old game, but from what I understand, if 1 was about being in tight spaces with zombies and figuring out how to maneuver around them, 2 was about horde control and figuring out how to deal with these hordes of zombies coming after you and when to run and when to fight.
Right.
And so I think they had to balance that for this remake to figure out, okay, how do we get rid of tank controls? How do we make it so it's a third-person camera that is like
Right. And
not controlled corridor cameras?
And there are definitely things I ran away from because like I don't need to fight this right now, and if I come back to this area, I'll deal with it then.
And they don't follow you that
They don't follow you that far. They generally stick to the corridors they're in.
Yep.
Sometimes they'll come into the room,
Yep.
depending on what kind of door it is.
Yep.
That game, the other problem I have, and this is Chapter 1 spoilers, so if you don't want to listen, maybe skip forward a few minutes. But there's a guy named Mr. X, also known as Tyrant.
Just wondering if we were going to get to him.
And so he shows up at a point, and he changes the dynamic of the game in the precinct completely. So basically, it's this giant dude, you can't kill him, and he will infinitely wander around the precinct looking for you. His job is
That's horrifying.
his job is basically he was created and sent by the Umbrella Corporation to clean up their messes, make sure there are no survivors when they have a fuck up, and he was doing that. But the problem is he's not only wandering around and looking for you, and you can always hear where he is. If he's close, you'll hear his footsteps. You can hear him opening doors. But if you run or shoot your gun, he will walk towards you. He will know where you are at that point. He will even know the general direction, and he will start walking towards you. And you don't kill Mr. X. You got to run from him. So it changes the game from like wandering around corridors, like maybe efficiently taking out zombies and clearing out rooms to like, I can't fight this zombie or I'm gonna have another fucking problem. And he comes into your safe space. He comes into the main hall. He can't come in every room, thankfully. But it definitely makes the game tense, which I know that's what they're going for. But I don't like enemies you can't kill and that are kind of like ever present.
Right.
It sort of made that last part of that chapter obviously really hard to play because it's fucking scary. But that's also the reason, like, if I hadn't gone through and killed a majority of the zombies available to me before he got there, I would have had a hell of a time.
Yeah.
And I did. I fucking ran into a licker that I had left alive, and I was like, oh God, I'm away from Mr. X, and then suddenly like a licker jumped in my back. I'm like, ooh! It's like terrifying.
I think that's the tension the game's going for. So I'm the opposite. I love Mr. X.
Yeah.
And I love how they present it in that you go through the entire police station and you unlock everything before, for the most part, everything before you run into him. So then you know the police station and you know how you're supposed to maneuver around.
And I won't argue that like it certainly made the game more interesting. Like I was comfortable, and then they're like, you're not comfortable anymore.
Is there any way to like temporarily take him out?
No.
You can stagger him but it takes a lot. And like you're gonna waste most of your ammo just trying to stagger him to get around him.
And
Yeah.
then you're
And
fucked
the
because what if
time-
another zombie comes?
Yeah, the time that he was there, I had like no shots for anything for the majority of that period of the game. But the thing he does, and again, this is all like Reddit post stuff that people are saying happens. If you don't see him for a while, like you are efficient at avoiding him, he will teleport to you. Huh. And my experience with that was, okay, I'm walking through the library, I'm walking through this room, I don't hear him. I heard his footsteps get more quiet, like he's walking farther away. I sat in the library for a minute, I'm like, I don't hear him, so he's probably gonna teleport to me. And I was on Discord. Listen, shout out to friends like Brian. Brian is my friend who loves Resident Evil, loves horror games, and I streamed it to him through Steam, and he sat on Discord with me and talked me through it, and it was there for emotional support, and also if I got lost, he was there to help me through it. Fantastic friend. You always want a friend like Brian. But I was like, listen, dude, you know he teleports, right? Like I was reading on the subreddit that he teleports, and he's like, I don't know. You don't hear him, right? He's like, no. I was like, watch this. And I opened the door, and fucking Mr. X was right there, and he fucking trapped me and killed me. I was like, see, son of a bitch. And like, those are the kind of like that and the ammo balancing are the kind of mechanics that are like, all right, I'm gonna work within your rules, Resident Evil, but then you kind of just cheat a little bit, if those things are true. If they're not, then it's all just been bad luck, and that's fine. It just kind of feels a little too heavy-handed. I would have preferred for the zombies that, sure, make the ammo scarce as hell, but make zombies take like 3 hits to kill regularly. And you know, don't make my knife fucking take 30% damage if I stab a zombie with it.
Your knife breaks way too easy. To me, I like it, and I like the way the police station is laid out. I like the way you have to kind of, collect something, go back, unlock other things. Also, this is the nicest police station ever. I know it used to be a museum, but like you don't have a lot of police stations with marble floors and like beautiful libraries and all. Like what kind of fucking educated police force is this? But I liked it. I like the backtracking you have to do. I do like you said, it forces you to learn the layout because I get lost very easily in all games. So I get lost in this very easily. So I like that very much. I feel like the combat has been done better in subsequent games. So like, I kept comparing it to Last of Us, which I thought did it better.
I was comparing it to 4, and the thing I was trying to do is like, all right, I'm gonna shoot the zombie in the leg, it's gonna go down, and I'll knife it to death. And it takes like 3 or 4 shots to make him go down, and knifing it to death is like that's like 20% of your knife.
You can find other knives as you go throughout the game, but you have to use those strategically to figure out like, do I want to take out this zombie down right now, or do I want to hold on to it?
You got to be reserved.
There's a mechanic where if a zombie grabs you and you have your knife, you can stab him in the head, and then you have to take that zombie out to get your knife
But then you still have to shoot it.
Right. Yeah. All that said, I understand and respect those decisions because it is an extremely tense game, and I have so much trouble playing it. Yeah. But I think it's a fantastic game for a number of reasons. One, it's like maybe the best looking game I've seen so far in that style of game, in a non-open world game.
They had gone back and were actually studying how to make the world seem wet. I know that sounds really weird.
It's raining all the time.
It's raining all the time. The way the blood shines and drips off of enemies is amazing. They really nailed it with how this game looks.
Yeah. I think that the way I haven't done the second parts of the game, second and third parts of the game yet, but the way the precinct is designed is like, it's one of my favorite video game environments ever.
Yep.
Because it's all like, things are locked off and you can't go here, but like you have these ways you can go, and then every time you figure something out, it's like that little dopamine release. Like, oh, this is the key I need. Look, it has a club shape on it. Look on the map, there's club doors. I'm gonna go to those, and it feels so good to like unlock a little bit at a time. And despite hating all the scary parts of it, like those little parts feel like
Big time.
a really satisfying puzzle to put together.
And there's a lot of stuff locked up, like combination locks everywhere.
Right.
And like, fuck, I know it's somewhere, but I haven't paid enough attention, so it feels like my fault that I don't know how to open that.
The game is meant to be very replayable, where you'll play through again to try to beat the game a little bit faster and complete a little bit of those challenges, because there's a whole challenge list, but they change those puzzles up every time you start a new playthrough.
It also does, to me...
Well, I think that's just between A and B.
Really?
Because I'll tell you why. Because I was playing the game with Brian over my shoulder watching, and I was walking through the waiting room. I'm like, yeah, you know the combination of that safe? He's like, yeah, 6 or 1162 or something like that, and that was it. And I was like,
and it was the right one.
Great. Like he just remembered. But yeah, that stuff, man, it's so satisfying. The zombies are a pain in the ass, but like, there is a satisfaction in clearing things out and being like, I think I'm comfortable in this room, at least for now, until they spawn more.
The lickers
you can board up you can board up windows so zombies can't come through. And those little moments of reprieve where like you're just solving a puzzle or you're just in the safe room, it's like, it's a good little roller coaster.
There's some cool polish to the game, like, where they mention, I guess this is slight spoilers, about like lickers. You find a document that's from some guy that's just like, hey, these licker guys suck. They look like they're skinned humans. Don't make any noise around them. They can't see. If you're really quiet, you can just walk past them. And so right after that note, one comes around a corner and starts walking towards you. And if you just don't move, or you just start slowly walking, it'll just ignore you completely and move past you. But then later in the game, you're doing something and a loud noise goes off. And I was like, oh cool, I'll just do this thing and go to the next room. Didn't realize all the lickers heard that and they converged on me and just wrecked me. And that's that cool polish, right? Of like,
that's why I've learned not to leave lickers alive, because I ran into one and it scared the poop out of me. And I was like, listen, that's my second jump scare from one enemy. I'm done with this.
Those are bullet sponges. You want to talk about bullets as liquor.
I had to use my shotgun.
I like that you have to pay, it rewards you for paying attention to the environment. Like, this is a minor spoiler, but right at the beginning, your job is to unlock your desk. And it's
so cool.
Yeah, and it's like, it's the first letter of all our names. That's the combination, but you don't know where but you have to pay attention, and just little touches like that are so much fun. I also like what it does with light and sort of what's lit up, but more importantly, what's not lit up, and what's right on those margins. And you're hearing, like you said, it builds the tension because you're hearing a lot of noises, but you can't necessarily see things. Sometimes you can flip a switch and light up a room, but a lot of the times, no.
Yeah, that game does sound design really well too, where you always kind of hear skittering, and it is really intense just to have headphones on and listen to that, because it also does binaural audio. So especially with Mr. X, it's really important because you can like turn your head and be like, okay, he's over here, and like you're like, I'm gonna fucking never go in there. But yeah, that game, it's really good. And as much as I hate horror games, it's really good.
Capcom has done an amazing job of taking an old game and adding like current mechanics, getting rid of the tank controls, and turning it into this well-polished thing. And they finally came out, I think, last week and said that the whole reason this game was made was because of fan outcry saying they wanted a remake, and they actually said, if you want to see a 3, let us know, and we're going to take that into account.
Yeah, I had been playing this game with the intent of, I'm going to beat this game so I can prove to myself I can play horror games and then play future horror games. I don't know that it's going to have that effect, because I'm no less scared than I was when I started.
They just aren't for you. That's fine.
But I want them to be.
Yeah.
Because this game proves it. Like, there are mechanics I really like in it. Like, I'm having fun doing puzzles. It's so like I got to the end of the precinct and I was like, all right, we're about to leave, and then Brian was like, we forgot to get the Magnum. I was like, fuck. He's like, but I gotta go. And so I bravely went and got the Magnum all by myself, and I was so proud.
it does such a good job of not holding your hand, but just giving you enough little clues to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
It's such a good remake. They did it the right way, and for all the reasons you said, I hope they make more, because I was never a huge Resident Evil person, but this very much got me into the series.
Have you guys ran into situations yet where I almost did, where I put myself in such a bad situation, ammo and health-wise, that I nearly had to restart?
Yeah.
Because I was in the red in my health, and I had like 3 shots left, and I was like trying to navigate around
the
Mr.
last
X,
one's for me.
And there was multiple zombies in my way where I had to go. I just like happened to be able to like run into the room. There was no zombies. Run out, grab an Arab, and I was like, okay, I can make it through this.
I've in playing the last few games, 0 and 1 in the last few months, I've realized it's very possible to fuck yourself in those games and get to a point where even if you're like 5 or 6 hours in, you don't have any way to progress, and you're just gonna die.
Yeah, it's real. It's
almost
that's
like
what I don't want to happen. I have like 10 save files right now.
Me too, yeah. It's almost like you soft lock the game a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like you're just in a spot where it's like, well, I'm kind of fucked.
You can't progress, and you're gonna die if you leave.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Okay, anybody got any other thoughts on Resident Evil 2 to share?
I want it to be done so I can play Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, all right. So that brings us to our next game, Kingdom Hearts 3.
I have a request.
Please don't
or a
spoil. Please
question.
don't spoil.
We won't spoil.
Okay. Well, as somebody who let's say I've got $60 to spend on one game, and I'm looking at Resident Evil 2,
Yep.
Kingdom Hearts 3. Sell me.
Have you
Sell me on one.
I've
got no experience in either
Are you
series.
looking for time? Because Resident Evil 2 is a shorter game.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
With
looking.
a lot of replayability.
Yes.
So I spent my whole weekend playing Kingdom Hearts 3. I've dumped 30 hours into the game so far.
Wait, is it only like 30 hours long? I would assumed it would be like 60.
I'm not done with the game yet.
Okay.
How long to beat places it at 35 hours, I think. But that's if you just go through the story. There's plenty of other things to do.
They
that
have a
can
lot of
flesh that game out.
replayability too.
Yeah. But between that, I've played maybe, I think, 5 hours of Resident Evil 2. I would recommend Resident Evil 2. I really really like Resident Evil 2. As I was playing through Kingdom Hearts, I just kept finding myself like, I want to go back to Resident Evil 2, but I also know I want to finish Kingdom Hearts 3 before I go back to 2.
Do you attribute that to? I think Resident Evil 2 is kind of a really complete package in terms of it can appeal to most people, with the caveat that you like horror games or you're willing to play them, because it has a pretty good story, the mechanics are really good, and the one thing I know about Kingdom Hearts, because I went and watched like 2 different videos about recapping the story, is that the story is kind of nonsense.
Yes,
That's the running joke.
That's the thing about this game. If you haven't played previous games and you're not somewhat familiar with the story, I would have a hard time recommending it, because it doesn't give you a tutorial, it doesn't give you a synopsis like at the beginning.
What if you're a person that like can get through a game if you're not invested in the story, but the mechanics and the world are interesting enough? Because I love the idea of Disney characters in a video game. That's really cool. Like I love Big Hero 6.
Right.
He's my favorite robot.
So you asked me if I liked Resident Evil 2 because it's a complete package. Resident Evil 2 to me is a very good game with a story that I'm interested in playing through. Kingdom Hearts 3 to me is fan fiction. Kingdom Hearts 3 to me makes me
Be careful.
Understand.
Be careful. People are gonna get very mad at you.
Like me.
it makes me understand why people like fan fiction, right? Like it's all these different. You can do anything, right, with this writing.
Yeah.
This is a weird mishmash of Disney stories with Final Fantasy characters and Final Fantasy story. And I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan. I loved 1, I loved 2, I played Chain of Memories. I didn't
You
play
played all of them?
I played up through the Vita game, which
Birth by Sleep?
I think it's Birth by Sleep. No.
That was PSP.
There's a game. in the
Dream
series
Drop
called
Distance.
Dream Drop Distance
was
is the one I haven't played.
That was 3DS.
2 over 2.
358 over 2 days. I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce it.
There are
What is with the names of these fucking games? What is 2.8?
There are 3 mainline Kingdom Hearts games. There are like 12 Kingdom Hearts games that tell the whole story, and they're all important to 3.
Yeah, like Birth by
I
Sleep.
know.
If you don't play Birth by Sleep, you're not going to understand this, because there's a ton of shit that happens in Birth by Sleep that, there's a lot. I love Kingdom Hearts. I'm happy to come back to this world. I want to see how it finishes up, but it is like coming in the last fifth of a novel.
I'm so surprised that you guys really are and you're not down on it.
No, I love the game.
It's not like 100% recommended, which is surprising.
I don't know if I would recommend this to someone that isn't a fan of the Kingdom Hearts games.
That
if you're new to the
is
franchise,
bizarre. Yeah.
Is it entirely for story reasons?
no,
that
it's
Or what else kind of?
Yeah, I would
feeds
say
it a little
for
bit?
the reason.
So that's what I'm asking. Like, what about the rest of the game?
So-
Take the story away. How's the rest of the game?
The reason I say that is because as I'm playing through this game, I find myself there are fun mechanics some of the fighting mechanics are you get multiple keyblades, they have different play styles, and you can swap between them as you fight monsters, or Heartless, or Nobodies, or 11 or whatever they're
bad
called.
guys.
The bad guys. There's like 4 or 5 different categories of bad guys.
The Uncool 13.
But to me, it's just I'm turning my brain off really when I'm fighting, and I'm just like running through, hitting X, hitting with my keyblade. There are different play styles, but I don't have to necessarily learn all of those play styles.
Is it an
It's kind of-
action game?
it's kinda like an
I know
RPG
there's
hack and
action combat.
Yeah.
But like, are you upgrading Sora? Like, are you getting gear
Yes,
or
you're getting,
abilities?
yes, you get better gear, you get better keyblades, you upgrade different members of your party, but I think the whole time you're playing as Sora or Riku.
It does a little bit of in-between worlds.
Yeah.
You swap between some characters, but for the most part, you're playing as Sora. As you play through and you're fighting Heartless, you level up your character, and they get more health. In the beginning, you go through this like small quiz that determines are you more like fighting-oriented, or are you more defense-oriented, or are you more mage-oriented?
Right.
But it's kind of convoluted, so I haven't really figured out what answers mean what playstyle you have.
I think if you are into Disney or you think the concept is interesting, that maybe you would enjoy it.
That's
Yeah.
where I'm coming
If
from.
the premise
pretty much.
alone is interesting to you, it's recommended.
I don't know if because I haven't played all. I'm 10 hours in, so I don't know if coming in you're going to be lost to some degree, but you can sort of get. You're the good guy. There's this bad guy out there that you're sort of having to build yourself up and eventually building to this climactic confrontation.
But even like I got through the first world, and then I had to go back and read every Wikipedia article for all of the games, just kind of figure out, okay, I kind of understand this. Then I went back and they have these like intro videos in the beginning menu that you can watch that kind of catches you up, but doesn't include everything from all of the games.
That's the thing, because I had people recommend just play the game. It has a recap. And I was like, I don't know if I trust that. And I watched other videos that explain like everything or mostly everything.
This is the most anime game I've ever played. It has body swapping, it has time travel, and this is also before 3. It has like, different worlds you travel
Child
to.
romance.
It's, but it's a fun game. It's a fun, like I've just been playing through and I'm liking the stories, and I can kind of just like turn my brain off, and sometimes I'll get stuck on a boss and I have to kind of swap my play style
So
up.
outside of the story, is there like side quests? Like what is the side content or outside of story content that you're doing? Are you just like looking for treasures?
In past games, there's sort of side bosses that are way harder than and they're thrown in from other games. Like I think it was in 2 you fought Sephiroth. And he was like brutally hard.
He's in 1 and 2, but he's like the harder boss that you don't have to fight.
Right.
That's cool.
But which is
you
a Final
could-
Fantasy thing, right? Like you could go and fight these summons like the Knights of the Round,
Yeah,
or
Cloud shows up, and he's just sort of this bitter dick at this
So
point.
without spoiling anything,
Mm-hmm.
are there surprises to be had in like the guest appearances of characters? Like, did characters show up that you didn't know about going into it? And don't spoil what they are.
you're making this hard on me, Adam.
Me, not yet, but they've also.
You could just say yes or no.
No. Everything I saw in all of the trailers was pretty much everything I had seen. I'm not done with the game though, so I don't know if maybe there's still some kind of twist or side world I'm going to be able to go to. But I've enjoyed the storyline of all of these things, right? Like there's this overarching like Final Fantasy plot, but all of the worlds have their own contained either like this is the movie and I'm playing through the movie right now, and it's kind of cool to see how Sora integrates into that. Or there is like a completely new and original story that you're playing through currently.
Is there a favorite world that you have so far? There's like Toy Story, Big Hero 6.
I don't want to say because I don't want to spoil anything.
Okay.
I don't want people looking forward to something.
What I love about Kingdom Hearts games, and this one is no different, they're not afraid to be epic, like crazy, maybe insanely plotted, but like it is an epic, huge story that is very memorable, that is over the top, that has very memorable characters, and the fact that Disney has allowed them to sort of use their property however they want is something you do not see anywhere else.
It's a game that's fun just to sit and consume and enjoy, and you don't have to make sense of it.
Yeah.
Like it's a little, the plot's very convoluted, but it's
Just
still
a little bit.
It's still like followable, right? And you can kind of understand. Okay, this is the bad guy. These are my friends. This is what I need to go to do. Oh, I know this story because it's a Disney story and it's familiar to me, and I'm just kind of having fun and playing it. It's a good game.
And the special attacks, the new ones, what are they called? The Y button ones, where they're based on Disneyland rides and Disney World rides.
Part of the mechanics are like,
Different colors, green and yellow.
they throw a lot at you in the beginning.
Yes.
A lot of game mechanics at you in the beginning. But they're all a lot of fun and really cool. Like there's your Keyblade, and as you fight with your Keyblade, you kind of build this small meter that then transforms the Keyblade into a certain like fighting style. And they can be more magic oriented, or they can be more like fighting oriented. But even like the magic ones are different, or have different play styles. And then there's other where like if you hit enemies that have this green circle around them, it'll build this meter that lets you summon Disney rides that then you can summon into battle. Like there's the...
They brought back flow motion, I think, where you can interact with the environments and sort of bounce off things. They brought back shot lock, where you can switch to like a first-person shooter almost, and like for a limited time.
And as you play through, like you'll unlock abilities for your party members that unlock new like meter weapons as well that lets you hit triangle or Y depending on what system you're playing on, and then you'll do like a combo attack with Goofy or Donald or one of the other characters in the world that you're playing in.
It makes
Is the combat fun?
Combat is very
I
good.
like it. Yeah, it makes no pretense of realism at all. I mean, it is an
As it
over-the-top,
shouldn't, yeah.
cartoony video game that is like it's like this is what it's always sort of. This is what we are, and if you like it, great. Like, come aboard.
Do the different worlds offer variety and variety that caters to the world you're in? Like, for example, like in my head, if I'm gonna see Pirates at the Caribbean, we're gonna be on a fucking pirate ship or something like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
It has a lot of that.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
And it's funny too. Like sometimes the dialogue, it's over the top, but there are little jokes in there, and so I don't know. I've been a fan of it for forever. It's fun to. It's kind of like when you rewatch a favorite series or something, you know, like a TV series.
Sure.
It's good to see everybody back. You know, this is very much how Kingdom Hearts 3 felt.
That's why it was kind of a complicated question. You asked me, like, would I recommend Resident Evil 2 or Kingdom Hearts 3? They're both really good games. They're a lot of fun, but they're very different audiences.
Right.
Standalone, one a single serving package, Resident Evil 2, no doubt. But Kingdom Hearts 3, you know, if you know going in, I think it's probably worth a
Yeah,
shot.
I've been like craving an RPG, another RPG.
Yeah.
So
This will definitely fill that for you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of.
It has like there are a lot of those small things, like you mentioned, like pirate ships or Pirates of the Caribbean. There's the in-between world gummy ship stuff that they've really expanded out more so than it's not just like in one it was just a linear thing. That you kind of
you're on
moved your character
rails.
through.
Yeah.
In 3, it's a whole like world, and you actually leave the planet and go to another world almost.
Are there collectibles and stuff? Can you go back to worlds and like be like,
Yeah.
I want to go back here and get, is there collectibles?
That's
to
kind of
get?
the side quest stuff. There are there's a lot of the JRPG elements of like go collect all of these different items, and then you can synthesize those to like get a better weapon
Okay,
or
so it's like
level those up.
unlockables.
Yeah.
That shit I love.
It does a good job, at least in previous games. I'm not, I'm only like 10 or so hours in, but by the end of it, you feel like a badass.
I am
You
getting
know,
stronger,
you're-
and I have a lot of really cool things.
It's one of the best feelings in a game.
That's a good
Right,
one.
that you're
Our
just
fantasy, dude.
all powerful, and you can just,
You started at the bottom, now you
Now
can
we're
take on
here.
anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we're here.
Is are the cutscenes like way too long? Because there's only one game that I'll watch 30-minute to an hour cutscenes, and that's Metal Gear Solid. Lord.
Definitely a lot of cutscenes. Yes.
There's a lot of-
know that going in.
Yeah, the worlds, I think the cutscenes, they tightened up a little bit. So like when you're playing, it's fun. But then every time you go out of a world, there's usually like a longer cutscene of like what's happening in between. And those I like kind of will tune out a little bit because I know either I'm going to watch and, okay, cool, I get what's going on, or I have no idea what's happening right now. I'm just going to keep playing.
It's also funny because Joel Osment, I believe, has voiced Sora in the English versions this whole time. Well, he sounded like a kid back in the early 2000s.
When he was
back
a
in
kid?
Sixth Sense,
Yeah.
Haley Joel Osment. Now he's, I mean, Sora's clearly gone through puberty a long time ago. Like the voice is a lot lower.
Did
but
they,
he's
age,
still,
did they age the character to match?
No, not to the degree to
little
which
bit.
Haley Joel Osment has aged.
I'm happy for that guy. Good for him.
Yeah.
He's still doing cool
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Some of the voice acting has been a little hit or miss for me in some of the like Disney worlds and whatnot, but they also got some of the original voice actors to come back for a lot of the Disney counterparts, and it's been good.
Who voices Woody?
I don't know.
Is it Tom Hanks?
I would imagine it's not Tom Hanks.
Yeah, some of them are the original actors.
Was it
Like, I
ever
know
Tom
the,
Hanks?
The Frozen
It
actors had them,
was in the movies.
but for 3, I have no idea.
But in the other Kingdom Hearts games, did
I
Tom
have no
Hanks?
idea.
Woody's voiced by Tom Hanks' brother.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's
Woody is voiced by Tom
hilarious.
Hanks' brother. All right.
Rick Hanks.
Todd Hanks.
Todd Hanks. That's like John Travolta had a brother, Joey
Jim
Travolta,
Hanks.
who did, yeah.
So Jim Hanks voices Woody in Kingdom Hearts 3, but like Zachary Levi comes back and voices Flynn Rider in like the Tangled, he was the voice actor in the original movie.
Yeah, so it's a mishmash.
I killed that guy in the movie. I killed Zachary Levi in the movie called Blood.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
wait, you killed Zachary Levi in Tangled? That's really dark, Adam.
Maybe you've heard of it. It's called Shazam. Adam's in it, so congratulations. Yeah, okay, so anything else on Kingdom Hearts? Or
If you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, you'll love this game.
yes, that was my immediate impression.
Yep.
It sounded, from the story being 35 hours, it doesn't sound like it overstays its welcome.
No, it's something that I'm playing through, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I've loved everyone's reactions of like it's been 14 years or whatever, and I'm really excited because Twitter's been awesome.
Do you think that we're gonna have a DLC where it's the Avengers and that's the between end game and they're gonna actually help all the Avengers come back?
It's one of the possible futures
If
that
Kingdom Hearts
Dr.
3
Strange-
Thanos shows up and you have to fight him. That would be a total Kingdom Hearts
If
move.
Kingdom Hearts 3 ends with Donald going, I don't feel so well, guys, and just evaporating into dust,
Actually,
oh man.
If there is Avengers crossover and it's one of the possible futures, you know the Avengers lose in that one because they're
Right.
definitely not going to have Sora in Avengers Endgame.
Right.
So that's supposed to be the one way that they.
I would love if that was the case. They
get to
they
watch
got
the Avengers die?
Just like anything to do with Avengers in Kingdom Hearts, because that's Disney owns it, right?
Star
So-
Wars.
Yeah, they
Or
go,
Star Wars.
I want an ESPN world.
It would absolutely be like them to bring in something like
And
that.
they haven't talked about DLC, right?
No, I don't think there will be DLC for this game.
That's fair.
It's also good. This game, I think, was maybe not in development hell, but something close. I mean, it's
one of the-
taken a long
Yeah.
over
13,
a decade.
13 years?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a
How
long
long
time.
did Duke Nukem Forever take?
8.
And I'm glad that
I think it was a comparable amount of time, but nobody was
Maybe
making
you're right.
I was happy.
jokes at KH3's expense the same way.
Technically, you have that Marvel tie-in in Kingdom Hearts 3 because Big Hero 6 is like one of the worlds you go to, and that's
Yeah.
technically a Marvel property, kind of.
Technically, yeah. It's
I'm happy though that the game did come out and it's good. You know, because
Yeah.
sometimes those come out and it's like, you can tell like
good,
it's
and
aged
the
for-
fans are loving it.
yeah. Right.
And so, as an outsider looking in, I'm happy for all the Kingdom
Yes.
Hearts fans
That's-
that
and
they
it's-
finally got what
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
wanted.
Both Resident Evil and Kingdom Hearts, all the fans of those games are gaga over. That's so cool to see.
And that's
It's
yeah.
January. We got 11 more months of awesome games coming
know.
out.
It's a nice start to the gaming year. That's for sure. All right, so that is our new releases. So let's talk news. All right, Ben, should we trade these off? What do
Sure.
you? All right.
You can start. You know the story.
Okay, so GameStop, I don't know if you guys have heard, not doing
Yeah.
very well. It is, they recently, well, this was a while back, but they announced that they were going to try to sell themselves. And they had split off, I think, a mobile division. They had already sold that. They recently announced that we can't find a buyer, or we can't find a buyer that wants to pay us what we think
Yeah, I was
we're
gonna say, I wonder how
worth.
much of that translates to we're not getting the money that we want. So
Yeah.
we're not
Yeah.
selling
Can't
it.
find a buyer, or decided not to sell after all? Because I saw both headlines.
Can't or won't.
No, I think the headline
Yeah,
was
true.
that they concluded filing paperwork to sell,
Yeah.
to proceed with selling, but their stock is very low.
It took a over 20% hit after they made that announcement. So obviously Amazon has affected it, and probably
Digital games, dude.
digital
Yeah.
games more than anything else. Yeah, it's not looking good.
I wish I could have the best of both worlds. I would probably, I don't know if that's the case. I might go to GameStop to get a physical copy that just had a digital code in it, just to have the box on my shelf. Because I love having a physical collection of things, but I can't be bothered to switch out games all the time. It's just too much of a pain in the ass.
Do you do all digital now?
Yeah, pretty much. There are certain games like my favorite games I will get physical, like Dark Souls or whatever.
Yeah.
That stuff is all physical.
To have like a memento.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
It would take like a collector's edition that actually appeals to me for me to get physical. Like the only times I've done that in the last decade or so was Majora's Mask 3D, because I have the little Skull Kid figure. It still sits on my desk. And then Breath of the Wild, because it has a map and
Right.
it's not much, but yeah, it's just cool enough that I was like,
I'll need to find the stats because I was looking up I was wondering how much have digital sales really affected like physical copies. I can't find it here immediately, but I looked at some like games industry analyst that mentioned that the digital sales of games aren't affecting the physical purchases that much. It's just people are still buying more games, but people aren't buying more physical games. So there's people are still buying the same amount of physical games, but they're not buying, they're buying more digital games. It sounds like people aren't swapping. It's just as gamers come in to buy games, they're starting to buy digital and not physical.
Right.
So it's not growing, and then as like Amazon comes in and Walmart and they have those, physical copies that they can provide, or Amazon can just ship directly to you, stores like GameStop are starting to kind of fall behind.
Also, Amazon's easier to deal with than GameStop. Like their policies are, I don't know, in my experience.
I will say the thing, Amazon has almost always fucked me on, like, I think it was 2 or 3 times in a row, from Bloodborne to Dark Souls 2 to maybe Dark Souls 3, where I ordered a day 1 copy so I could have like the collector's edition or whatever, just have a physical edition, and every time it was delayed by like 5 days.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah,
I've had that happen a couple
Yeah,
times.
it's like, dude, that's going to be past the weekend, so I would just go and buy another copy.
Right.
Because like I can't wait for things like Dark Souls.
Jason Schreier had something really interesting where he tweeted out, like, game publishers and devs despise GameStop for facilitating the used game market, while gamers associate it with pre-order nagging and opened new games and awful trade-in values. Like, will anybody miss GameStop other than the people that will like lose their jobs? And I know people still buy games from GameStop, but it's really easy, I think, just to swap to Amazon or
people won't
Walmart.
miss it in the short term. Like if it closes, they'll be, I bet you'll hear a lot of fuck, but I think in the long term, when people look back 10, 20 years, people they look at Blockbuster video.
with the nostalgia
I miss
lens.
those days.
When was the last time you guys went to GameStop?
It's been, I think when I bought my Switch, I think I showed up because I bought the pre-order off of someone that had pre-ordered it.
Right.
I went the
through
other day.
through GameStop.
Well, I went a couple weeks ago to see if they had a controller that I wanted, and they didn't, so I left.
I sold a bunch of games last year.
Okay. Oh man.
And got credit. That was fun.
I would never.
It's just
I
not
would
worth it
never.
to me.
I would never sell my games. I did that one time with my Xbox collection. I had my original Xbox. I had like 2 Duke controllers, an S, and I sold everything besides like my Halos for like $60. So and like
It just seems like such a ripoff.
like a week later, I was like, I fucking regret this.
Yeah.
And I still regret it. But yeah, the last time I went into GameStop was like, the only time I ever go into GameStop is to buy gifts. So like I would, if I want to surprise Grace with like Octopath Traveler or Pokemon, I'll go there and I'll like, put it in her Switch and she'll come home from work and it's there. Like it's great to have
If you need it right
a
now.
physical copy that you can give to someone. But
The worst memory I have of selling back, so and this was back in the GameCube era, and I was like broke. I was like right out of college, just like no money, so I had to sell some stuff back just because I like needed cash. I sold it back. I sold my GameCube, which the reset button like stuck a little, like it still worked, but it was a little sticky, and they were like, this is defective. They bought it. When I looked back at the receipt on like how much, they bought it for $5.
What?
My GameCube. And I've never forgiven myself for like being
You
like,
shouldn't.
no, what did I like? But at the time, I think I just like wasn't really paying attention. But like, the memory still of that, of $5 for that is just
I worked
like,
at a
so
GameStop
painful.
in high school, and like when people would come in to trade in their stuff, like we weren't allowed to do it, but I almost wanted to like meet me outside in 5 minutes and I'll give you like $20 more for all of this stuff.
Yeah.
75 cents for it. Like it just seems more worth it to get those things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what's going on with GameStop. Moving along, we got a couple of interesting like moves, and I'll sort of
Shifts.
combine these. Yeah, a Nintendo executive has joined up with Microsoft. Damon Baker, most recently head of third-party marketing and communications for Nintendo, is going to Xbox as their head of portfolio. So that is pretty cool. He was at Nintendo for a long, long time, and then Sebastian Stepien, creative director on Witcher 3, and Cyberpunk 2077 is going to Blizzard. So that's very interesting.
I think just looking at this from like a personal perspective, as you gain like a resume and clout at a company, you can sometimes leave for more money at another company.
Yes.
And if you're just trying to like retire and get money, like it's not always a personal thing. It's not always like, I hate Nintendo, now I'm going to Microsoft.
Yeah.
So, but the Cyberpunk one is interesting because the game isn't complete yet. And a lot of times you don't get your name on the credits if you weren't there when the game launched.
A few people are speculating that maybe a good amount of the story is already fleshed out, and so he wrapped up his projects on 2077, and maybe that means we're going to get that end of this year, next year. That's a speculation.
Maybe they're testing it and just debugging. At this
Right,
stage.
it's a lot of the coding that's going into it, but the story's already fleshed out and done.
The story
so he's
being
moved on.
done totally makes sense because
Yeah.
they would be building a game around the story generally, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people, if you look at Glassdoor and you look at CD Projekt, it's not the best work environment for people. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's crunch, or they don't pay well enough, or whatever. So I can understand if like you have a great resume and you want to go work for a company that does have a better environment for employees. And I visited Blizzard, man. It's a really cool place. Like
I think what you said is right too. Like, if a company, like Nintendo's doing really well these days, so his personal stock is probably higher.
Yeah.
Same for like everybody. CD Projekt Red, they have a great reputation,
Yeah.
so you're going to be able to probably get a lot more money going somewhere. I mean, Blizzard makes.
And it
big
sounds like
sense,
Blizzard this is a really good grab for Blizzard because it sounds like he started in 2006 as just like a writer, writing for some of these games, and then he moved up to creative director on Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah,
So-
that guy could probably go anywhere he wants.
Oh yeah.
Let's move on. Fallout 76. You know more about this one than I do.
Yeah, a little bit. So Bethesda had to come out basically and say Fallout 76 is not going free to play. A few people started freaking out online when they saw that a lot of in-game stores were losing stock of all their new copies of Fallout 76. Leading fans kind of believe that the studio is gearing up to shift the game into a free-to-play mode, which would make sense from a business standpoint, I think, a little bit, in terms of like we can make more money for this game if we shift to free-to-play.
Could that be done in that quick of a turnaround?
I don't know.
How realistic even is that?
You mean without a big backlash, or just like, could they logistically do it?
Like,
The fucking backlashes would be
Yeah.
fun.
It would be horrible.
It would.
Some Twitter user at xgtexdopey tweeted out, if Fallout 76 goes free to play, I want my money back straight up. 500 atoms ain't gonna cut it this time. As a diehard fan, there'd be no coming back to that slap in the face. And Bethesda just responded with, there is no truth to this rumor. So,
All right.
yeah,
There you
we'll see
go.
if that pans out in the future. But
Has it-
That game didn't get any better yet, right? That game still sucks.
they put out a new patch this week, I had read, that broke a few of the other things. Like it brought back the bobby pin glitch. It fixed some things, but now older issues are back now, and it just seems like they're stuck in this loop of
I feel like it's
bug hell.
I feel like it's gonna have like a hardcore group that stays with it, like how No Man's Sky had.
Sea of Thieves.
And yeah, and that are hoping that,
I hate to
gets
even put
improved.
Fallout 76 in the same category as
Yeah.
some of those games, though. Like, I'm hoping for a similar turnaround story.
Me
but
too, because Sea of Thieves and No Man's Sky are doing great.
Now,
you know,
now Sea of
and
Thieves is one of the top streamed
Yeah,
games on
right?
Twitch, and
Yeah.
it's getting this huge resurgence. But they've dumped a lot of resources into that game and a lot of new expansions that have built it in. And I haven't seen anything major from Bethesda. It's just been bug fixes, which is what they should be focusing on. But it just seems like every time they fix something, they break 3 other things.
Speaking of online games, Anthem, the beta came out, the VIP beta. By the time you guys watch this, we will be in the open beta. But it was rocky. There was people were getting infinite load times when starting missions. Some people were not able to log in. There were, what else? There was one other thing.
There was infinite load times. There were like entitlements blocking users from the demo entirely.
Right. Yep.
Connection issues. I think those are the top 3 things.
And BioWare basically said, we know it was rocky. We're gonna work on it. I had said when I talked about this in the know, that's what demos are for, and people corrected it. Said, no, that's what betas are for. This is a demo, meaning this should be a little more polished. I don't know. I think the reason they're putting this out is to stress test and
These days,
but the VIP demo was a paid-for thing. You had to buy into Anthem to get into that.
Yeah.
So that is like kind of a problem.
You're expecting a certain level
You're expecting
of
to play
quality.
the whole weekend. Like you pre-ordered or whatever so that you could participate in this 3-day long thing.
And that game comes out soon too.
Right.
Yep.
I think they came out. I do appreciate the transparency that BioWare is coming out with and saying like, hey guys, we see what the issues you're having with. We're going to try to do our best to fix it. I think they came out and said the top priorities are they're going to continue to resolve any reports of issues with login and entitlement problems. They're going to implement fixes to address infinite loads, and they're going to improve server performance. But it's just nice to see them at least come out and say like, hey guys, we get all of this. We understand it's a demo. We're going to keep working on it really hard.
I just hope this is not another case of a game being released incomplete. Like you have been talking about before, that just seems like the standard now, which is not okay. Which put more time, delay it if you have to, but releasing it incomplete and then a year from now it might be okay.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly confident
I don't have a lot
enough
of
to
confidence.
keep it on my radar.
This is not good for BioWare though,
I mean-
because like they're after Mass Effect Andromeda, they need a hit.
Yeah, but
I am the win.
games like this have so much money behind them that like you look at Destiny
Yeah.
and they knew what they were launching both times,
Right.
and
They're not stupid.
They're just like, listen, we got to get it out, but as long as we make improvements, people will come back to it. Shitty mindset, but they're not wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Looking at what the game has presented, I don't know that it's going to be that. I don't know if it's going to be like the biggest game in the world, like some people might expect. But
I think there's too much competition.
I'm probably going to play it until
me
I
too.
get bored of it.
Me too.
I'm optimistically hopeful. I know that this is probably going to be a big game for BioWare, and they need to make it work. And I hope it does well. I really, really hope it does well. These bugs set me back a little bit, but I'm still hopeful that they're going to come out with a good product.
It seems to scratch that Destiny 2 Warframe itch. So if it's good, I want it to be good because I'm gonna try it too.
Yeah.
Now these last two are probably the big stories of the week. The big controversy over Metro Exodus going exclusive on the Epic Games Store for a year. I think the PC version, obviously. That sort of came out of the blue, and the big problem was it had been available for pre-order on Steam for a long time, and Valve fired back saying this is unfair to Steam customers. Epic is trying to sort of reassure you'll still be able, if you pre-order, you'll still get it on Steam. You'll be able to get all the DLC. There's not going to be DLC that's exclusive to Epic. But still, I know they're trying to play a little hardball with this Epic Games Store, but this seems to be creating a lot of ill will from people.
Yeah, if you're going to play hardball, you can't screw over the consumer. You screw over your competition. Right. If you screw over the consumer, you're suddenly the bad guy.
Yeah, I have no pity for Valve and no love for Epic. They're just big corporations trying to make a bunch of money, and that's fine. That's what businesses do. But like, this does screw customers quite a bit. And some people, they don't want to invest in Epic's launcher. They already have a giant Steam library. All the previous Metro games have been on Steam. They're like a staple of Steam sales.
Yes.
And they're great games. And say what you want about them like using Steam to advertise and how scummy that is for them to treat Steam that way, but it's more about the users and how they've screwed them over. And the sort of tactic where it's like, we're taking it away today. You better buy it now if you want it on Steam. I almost did it too, and I was like, I don't want to buy into this bullshit. Like, they're just trying to make people grab at it, and it's not right.
Right, to try to like spike sales.
Yeah.
Or sort of introduce this artificial urgency
Yeah.
into it.
And didn't like THQ Nordic have to come out and distance themselves a little bit from the whole fiasco?
Yeah, THQ Nordic which owns Koch Media, which I think was the company that made this
Deep
call.
Silver?
Yeah, and THQ Nordic was like, we didn't have anything to do with this. And they kind of said in general, we want to make it available to as many platforms as possible. Obviously, Epic is playing big time hardball. They're offering an 88% cut to developers of their revenue compared to 70 with Valve. That's a big, like 18% is a lot. So they're trying, they're really trying to take a big bite out of Valve.
How long do you think? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go on.
How long do you think that revenue cut's going to stay at that level before
Until
they start?
Fortnite starts crashing, and then
cutting
probably
it back
sometime
and-
after.
I mean, it could be, I think they have the money to do it for a long time. And, there are big chains out there who historically in other industries will come in, cut prices to the bone until all their competition has gone out of business, and then magically it goes back up again.
I'm interested to
I'm not
see
saying
what
Epic's
this-
doing that, but they can afford to, make it very enticing to
I'm
developers.
interested to see what this competition, I guess is the best word for it, between Epic Game Store and Steam is going to like provide in the long run.
I don't think this is just Epic Game Store and Steam. I think Epic Game Store is obviously trying to like get some of that Steam market share, but like I think every big developer is going to have. They already kind of do, like
Uplay.
Origin, Uplay, like they already have their own thing. GOG is one that's just kind of out there doing DRM free stuff, and that's fine. But eventually we're going to have a launcher for every major company. Battle.net.
Epic, I think, just has the resources right now, right, to grab these other games and provide them on their launcher, and I want to see how Steam responds to that. But it sucks to see like these gamers stuck in the middle of this, like mom and dad are fighting over Metro Exodus.
It's gonna suck to have a million.
It's not pro-consumer right now.
It's gonna suck to have a million launchers. Just how we're gonna have a million streaming services when Disney comes out with theirs and like AT&T comes out with theirs. And
I've experienced it with just like digital movies, even like
Yeah.
Movies Anywhere. When that came out, that was like a godsend because it just amalgamates everything.
Right,
and
right.
so that's a pro-consumer thing where all the companies that contribute to Movies Anywhere, I'd like to think they get some kind of cut of it. I'm not sure how the business side of it works, but like if things keep going this way in the games department, we're gonna need a similar kind of thing. Or I got tolerance for like tops 2 big services because that's enough to have a competition, which then that means they're competing for our money, which means we get better deals. But
Right now,
more
it's,
than
right
that,
now
it
it's the
starts to get
developers'
more.
money, though. It's not.
Yeah.
They're not treating the customers with any respect.
Well,
They're not-
Epic did a couple. I think I read that they're now refunding customers if there was a discrepancy if they bought it a game before regional pricing.
partial refunds. It's not even like the full amount.
I like competition. I mean, I think competition is good, but yes, I think what you're saying has validity as well.
Putting some gamers where they're stuck between like a rock and a hard place.
Right. And then last up, of course, Metroid Prime 4. Nintendo made the big announcement. They came clean. Nintendo's senior managing executive officer, Shinya Takahashi, came out with a video this week saying development is not up to par on this game. We're starting over, basically. We're bringing in Retro Studios. The producer's going to stay the same, but he just said this is what's up, and it's not going to be available anytime soon. It's going to be a long time before we have any update. I think that they got a lot of credit for being transparent about it.
Yeah, the reception of that video was like surprisingly positive for basically saying, hey, one of the most anticipated Switch games is not coming out for a long time.
That's good. I mean, we need stuff like that. Like, we need developers to not try to make it better later and just to release games that they think are worth it.
Leave it to Nintendo to occasionally do something that is shockingly ahead of the curve in terms of like, being in touch with their consumer base.
Yeah, I mean, say what you want about
Occasionally.
Nintendo. They're doing like great stuff with how they monetize their games.
Cardboard.
And like, they put out like all the Nintendo games, like a Nintendo specific brand, like developed games have been good, if not great.
Nintendo has done its share of dirt in the past. I mean, in terms of like playing
YouTube
hardball and
monetization.
Amiibo and
Yeah.
like
They have their
there's-
faults. They still need to fix their whole
Yes.
online system, but they put out polished
But
games.
yes, but I do. Yes, they are.
fault them for that.
They are old school in that, like, if they put a game out, it's it's going to be of a certain. You can expect a
ready to
certain
go.
level of quality, which I wish everyone would do. And I think stuff like this is hopefully, other developers will take note of this. And the response of like, this was bad news. They had to announce.
Well, it helped that they had some good news come out where they said, like, we're moving this to Retro Studios, the
Yep.
developers that made the last Prime games. Like, so that helps, I think, generate a little bit of hype.
Yeah, it wasn't just like, here's the bad news, sorry. It was, here's the bad news, here's exactly what we're doing now.
But can you imagine if, like, they just hadn't said anything and the next 2 years go by with
Yeah.
E3 and just
then they would
all we
be
have is the
Square.
logo.
They would be
Do you
Square
think-
Enix.
Do you think that this is not going to be a Switch title? I mean, this was announced what 2 years ago?
Yes.
Or, Switch came out 2 years ago.
E3 2017.
And who knows how long it takes to develop Metroid Prime, but a lot of games take like 3 to 4 to sometimes 5+ years.
Yeah.
I don't know how long the life cycle of the Switch
Oh, you
is
mean
gonna
will the
be.
Switch be gone by?
Yeah. Do you think this will be a launch title on whatever the?
Nintendo's gonna stick with Switch, or at least some variation of that.
Right.
Or they could do like what they did with
got no
Breath of the
reason.
Wild and have it on the Switch and the Super Switch.
Yeah.
I think because it's Retro Studios and they have some experience with developing these kind of games, I think it'll still come out on the Switch.
I hope the Switch is called the Super Switch when
Yes.
the new one comes out. It'll be great.
There's two things that come to my mind with this story. First one being, what was that game that got canceled? What was it about it
Yeah.
that Nintendo's like, no, scrap the whole thing?
I thought I remembered reading somewhere that the game was being developed in like multiple studios across the world. So there was a lot of like communication issues
okay.
and like a lot of like, just people trying to figure out like, we need to communicate with this studio, but this studio is doing this, but this studio said they were doing this and they're not doing this. And so there's a lot of cross communication issues that kind of led it to, hey, we should just shuffle this over to Retro.
Yeah, actually, who was the studio mainly in charge? Did they ever say?
I don't think they ever said.
'cause
I could be
I
wrong.
think it was Japanese, but I think the developer. But I think they were. That felt always fuzzy, like that they didn't
Yeah.
really. But clearly, whatever it was wasn't up to par, and they went to Retro and said, "Help us, please."
The other thing I think of is, I wonder how Retro at large feels about this whole thing. Because they did 3 Metroid Prime games, then they did 2 Donkey Kong games, and then they were working on something
Yes, that
unrelated
we
to those
don't
things,
know,
which from a creative standpoint, I have to think that they had to be, excited to work on something completely new. And now they're having to go back to their old thing again. I wonder if it's more excitement over there. What are their feelings?
Yeah.
I know they're pretty tight-lipped about everything they work
I
on.
would assume they are very tight-lipped. It's impossible.
Fort Knox,
to-
like they're just up the road.
Yeah.
And we don't even get to.
I would imagine Nintendo came to them with a bunch of money and said, "Here
Yeah,
you
I
go."
wonder if they're big
Yeah.
enough to be able to be working on 2 separate games at once. I mean, they are
don't know.
4 years into this other supposed game that they're working on.
Which, like, there was that rumor that it was a Star Fox racing game or something like that. Which
All right.
that's what I heard. I don't know how much that rumor is based in reality, but
I am glad because they have a great reputation for just
Yes.
quality stuff.
they're like the new age Rareware. Yeah, that's kind of how I look at them. I wish they were allowed to work on their own original IP though, because like that was one thing that I loved about old school Rare was their original stuff was fantastic.
Yep.
Banjo-Kazooie, one
Yep.
of my favorite things ever.
Look, Nintendo, if you really want to make this up to us, just release Animal Crossing next week. I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be good.
I'll forget about all this Metroid Prime 4 stuff.
Exactly.
I wish I cared about Animal Crossing.
Get you. You're finishing Resident Evil 2. Animal Crossing's next.
It's not Kingdom Hearts 3. You can jump in at any
Right.
point. The story is not hard. It's not complicated.
The story is not there.
That's
even.
right. All right. Well, I believe that does it for this episode of Glitch Please, and also that does it for Glitch Please. This is our last episode, so thank you very much for watching. I've really enjoyed hosting. I know I kind of came in abruptly in October. It was a bit of a surprise, but it's been so much fun, and thanks to you guys too for being on
Happy
the
to be
panel
here. Happy
and
to be.
answering my Slack when I messaged y'all and asked if you would be on it. It's been so much fun.
It's been fun just coming in every week and talking about video games.
Yeah, so
I think we have a little reel here of all the best moments from Glitch Please.
there it is.
There aren't any. That's the joke. Brutal.
That's why this is the last one. But I'm still going to be on the know, so I'll be over there. We're still, none of us are going anywhere.
I exist.
Yeah, we still exist. So you can be happy with that. But we still have a little bit more. We got New Game Plus, so stick around for that. If you're a first subscriber, you get to see us for just a little bit more before we go away forever. So stick around for that, and we'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.